This is the American Constitutionalist broadcast. Each broadcast will cover a small section of the American Constitution, the situation relating to that section, and possible solutions. If you just go along with the bad policies, then you agree with them. If you're not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. Hi, welcome to the third broadcast. My name is Guy Alberghini. I'm here with Keith Rowland.
Hello.
What we're going to do is continue with the Bill of Rights, starting with the Sixth Amendment. So, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. So Keith, you want to mention a few things about those few sentences?
Yes, Guy, I appreciate it, and to make a good point across, a lot of folks are not getting a good partial, fair jury. They're getting prosecuted, and a lot of innocent people are spending in jail for a crime they didn't even commit. And we need to take that back. We need to take back and have a fair, speedy trial where innocent people who are spending in jail for lengths and lengths of time, when the trial comes up. It's not the fair thing to do.
Okay, so continuing with the sixth. Which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. How about those, Keith?
Yes, Guy, making a good point. When a person's supposed to have a fair trial, you also have to take into consideration the character of witness, the witness that is standing up for that person who claims to be innocent. And I think that's very important that we need to take into consideration. There's a lot of holes in our judicial system, and we really need to take things back. And like you said earlier, have a speedy trial, but a fair trial, but also have the proper and right witnesses that are going to be with that individual who's being prosecuted, who's being tried.
And your thoughts about counsel for his defense?
Absolutely, Guy. The counsel for his defense, his rights should not be waived. He should be having fair rights, fair consultation, representation. So his rights are not being taken away. And we see that too many times.
Yeah. When they inform the accused, basically, if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. So I believe that's where that sentence comes from.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
Because a lot is involved in the Sixth Amendment here, just read the whole thing at once now. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. So now we'll move on to the Seventh Amendment.
Yep.
in suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. So how about those sentences, Keith?
Absolutely, Guy. You're making a point, where he says on the common law where the value of controversy shall exceed $20. We get these excessive fees, these bail bond fees and stuff, and people are sitting in jail for the longest time, and most of the time they're innocent, and it's 4 or 5 months down the road till they get a fair trial, and it's not right for the individual. So we need to take that back. Like I said, there is a lot of holes in the judicial system, and they're not weighing out our constitutional rights, and one of them is the right of trial by jury, a jury of our peers. Very important.
Yes. Okay, so I think we pretty much covered the 7th. So for the 8th, you touched about this a little bit. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. So how about the 8th Amendment, Keith?
Yeah, Guy, as I was mentioning earlier, what I see too many times is there's these excessive bail bonds that are outrageous. Maybe some people can afford them, but most of the individuals can't afford these kind of fees, and it's not right. And these excessive fees lead into cruel punishment where the person stays in the jail cell for a long, long time, and they're not getting a fair trial till like 6 months to a year or 8 months down the road. What are we doing with our judicial system? Is this fair? Is this really fair? We need to go back and do the minimum amount if somebody's being tried for a fee, if they have committed that. But we need to re-examine all of this because it's really definitely a guy getting out of hand, and we need to bring back that 7th Amendment so people know what their rights are when they do get tried by a jury. And
problem with major cities these days is a lot of major cities have no cash bail.
True.
So they go in to the court and they're automatically released to the streets again. So there should be some amount of funds, some amount of compensation that everyone has to pay. Okay, very few people can afford to pay a lot, but they should be paying something. On the other hand, okay, the few citizens can afford to pay a lot. No, they could spend $1,000 like it's $1. So the fines and the bail should be set accordingly. And how about unusual punishments inflicted? Was some unusual punishments that might be considered these days?
Good point, Guy. Unusual punishments, like you embarked on the situation with the excessive bail bonds, where a lot of people can't afford it. The unusual punishments that are inflicted, and a lot of these people, most of the time, are innocent. They haven't even really gone to jury. And the unusual punishment, you see it on TV, you see it live. And
well, many years ago, people were shackled against a wall. Okay, so this amendment says basically you're not allowed to do things like that.
Exactly.
Right?
Trying to bring back the chain gang and.
Yeah. So.
The chain gang. Guy, you're making a point. Like they're trying to, with the chain gang and all these other. I watched an article on TV about the prison situation over in Arizona, how strict it was and harsh, and a lot of these young kids, and you have to say to yourself, some of these kids are innocent, and they're out there in the hot, sweltering heat. It's over 100 degrees in Arizona, and they're on like a chain gang type of situation, and I'm saying, what are we doing here?
Okay, so I believe we pretty much covered the 8th, right?
Yep.
So the 9th Amendment, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So you want to take that one up?
Yeah, thank you. Guy, I would love to elaborate on that. That is one of my favorite amendments, the 9th one, where it talks about our rights, our liberty, freedom is being violated. We need to bring that back, of our rights, our certain rights, when we get detained, arrested, and other things, should not be construed or denied or disparaged. We need to be able to reflect those rights. People who retain us or detain us, for a certain crime and situation, they override our certain rights. And like I said, they're violating that 9th Amendment, and we need to be bringing that back.
Yeah, so, or disparage others retained by the people. So which people are they talking about? So, yeah, or disparaged or retained by the people. So which people is this amendment talking about?
Yeah, Guy, good point. What this is talking about, retained by the people, like, if somebody gets arrested or they're getting their rights violated, on a certain situation, their rights are not being read, their rights are not being protected in all kinds of situations, from a civil to a criminal case. And we need to be bringing that back,
So retained by the people, okay, let's say we're the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And retained through the court system that represents us,
That's right.
okay?
Right.
The judicial system,
Yeah.
and as well as, the legislature that's making the laws.
Right.
Through those representatives, people are retained by us, the people.
That is correct.
So, on to the 10th Amendment. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. So which powers are they talking about?
Good point. Okay, Guy. Yeah, what we're talking about is the powers that are not delegated to the United States by the Constitution. Our powers, our power, our representation, our personal rights weighed by the Constitutional, prohibited to the state, reserved to the state, respectively, or to the people. I mean, we got to really take into consideration, our rights are being neglected, our rights are being violated. And we need to bring it back to the right people, to the right people, people that represent, of whether it be in any kind of situation.
So
Very important.
I believe what the first part is saying is whatever the Constitution doesn't exactly spell out, right, leads to the second part, which brings it to the states,
Level.
to the state level,
Correct.
and to the
Yeah,
people through the representatives.
that's right.
Okay, so that was the end of the Bill of Rights. Okay, so Keith, want to do a recap of the First Amendment through the Fifth?
Absolutely, my
A very
pleasure.
brief
Yeah.
recap.
I was going to do a brief recap. Thank you, Guy. We really need to know what these amendments are, ladies and gentlemen, and how they apply to us, our personal liberties and freedoms. First of all, I want to touch on the First Amendment, which gives us the freedom of speech. So many times our speeches are being censored, telling us how to say it, how to confront the situation. You're being more like a robot, not like a human being. Freedom of the press, very important. We need to reflect on that. And the right to assemble, very important stuff. And on the Second Amendment, we want to talk about bearing arms, very important, not to be infringed. Okay, and what I mean by that, not to be taken away. That is our constitutional right, to have that bearing of arms for our self-defense, for our self-protection. There's a reason for that. It's well regulated by the militia. And the Third Amendment that I want to reflect on is the Third Amendment, which no soldier shall in time of peace be quarantined in any house without the consent of the owner. Very important. We're invading that personal space, it's not right. And this is in time of war, but in any manner prescribed by law, very important that we need to bring that out. The other thing I want to reflect on is the Fourth Amendment, which basically is the right of the people to be secure in effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. And this is something I really want to reflect on. The illegal search and seizure that goes on where people are not being read their rights before they're being searched without probable cause. This is something that we really need to support.
And that could be searching for people,
Absolutely.
searching for documents,
Absolutely, yes.
searching for equipment,
Yes,
searching for wherever's in that property.
exactly. So this is something we need to bring back, and this is something that we do reflect. The other amendment that I do want to reflect on is the Fifth Amendment. And the Fifth Amendment is talking about for capital, otherwise crime representing the grand jury when we go to crime for a certain situation. Life, liberty, property without due process of law. Private property being taken for public use without just compensation. This is important stuff. So, a lot of times we do see that, and we need to make amends of that Fifth Amendment of our personal rights when it comes to that, And this is something that we need to elaborate and really need to focus on.
And along in there, I believe towards the bottom of it, you can't be a witness against yourself.
Right.
So when people plead the Fifth, this is what they're talking about,
Yes,
right? You can't put yourself in jeopardy.
that's right.
So that was the Bill of Rights, Amendments 1 through 10. And basically, Keith, they're, for the most part, not saying what we could do. It's saying what the government is not allowed to do. Okay? So, and everything gets back to, not the Declaration, the preamble, right?
That's right. Right. We the people. Right.
It starts with we the people.
Absolutely.
So we, the people, have to hold the senators, the representatives at the federal and state levels, as well as the city and town governments, accountable. Okay, calling them, emailing them, meeting with them, saying, we want you to do this instead of that. What also entails is you, us, running for office.
That's right.
So Keith, since this would be also shown in my town,
Yes,
right? I'm running for office.
that's right.
I'm running to be on the town select board,
Right.
right? To
Yep.
hold the rest of the members of the board accountable,
Absolutely.
work for the population of the town. And on top of that, trying to hold federal and state leaders accountable.
Everything has to have a balance. Absolutely. I mean, this is our personal rights. These are our amendments. We have a voice, and we're able to use that voice. And with ending, write to your state senator, write to your town leader. Let them know, important stuff. We could post something on there where you can, a website that they can contact us on .gov.
Yeah, they could go to congress.gov for the federal
Yes,
level.
yes.
For Massachusetts, it's mass.gov. Go to legislature and you can find out who they are. Phone numbers, email addresses,
Right.
the bills that they support, that they're sponsoring, what they're co-sponsoring. You can tell them, I want you to support this bill. Okay? And, we all have to work together
Absolutely.
with,
It's the only way we get things done is we've got to work together.
right. So my rough calculation is, at the representative level, federal representative level, for 70,000 constituents, maybe 300 people do that, that's all. At the Senate level, federal Senate level, only like 2,000 of the whole state. So to figure out rough population of the state,
Right.
you take the number of federal representatives, okay, for that state, Massachusetts, it's 9,
Right.
and multiply that by 70,000,
Correct.
okay? So that's the number of constituents at the Senate
Absolutely.
level.
Right.
So do you think we covered this enough, or
Yeah,
we should cover more?
Guy, I think we covered pretty much just about everything, and it's like what Guy said. I think he gave you the website, so if you need to contact your town selectman or anybody that's on board, I mean, really write to them. Let them know. Voice your concern. That's where our freedom of speech comes in.
I believe pretty much all the states have a similar
Yeah.
address as mass.gov, but it's slightly different for that state. Okay, so encourage everyone to be informed.
Right.
Right,
Write to
and
your senators.
I think
Write to
they
your
could,
congressman.
yeah, I think they can start rolling the credits. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Okay, and
All right.
look forward to seeing you soon
Yes.
at the 4th broadcast. Hopefully we have a very good surprise coming up that I'm working on. Constitutionalist broadcast.
Okay.
Each broadcast will cover a small section of the American Constitution, the situation relating to that section, and possible solutions. If you just go along with the bad policies, then you agree with them. If you're not part of the solution, you are part of the problem.